I'm Chris Lawrence. I'm one of the 9 members of the Pastoral Search Committee. We've been meeting each Tuesday night for the past year and a half in order to create a profile of our church, to review and discuss resumes, and to interview and assess candidates. It's been a long, intense, and very thoughtful process. The other committee members are our chairman, Paul Listra, Elizabeth Benton, Jeffrey Katz, Alton Fry, Mary Howard Dreemeyer, Trey Hollywood, Ron Oshler, and Nancy Van Meter. Paul, Trey, and Jeff will provide some insight into our work and what we've learned as a committee. And we also hope we can bring you some good news pretty soon. But we also thought we should explain that one of the first things we did as a committee was to create a covenant to remind ourselves of the importance of our work. And here's what we agreed on and wrote. We pledge, with God's guidance and your prayers, to be open to the Holy Spirit in all we do, say, and decide. We will endeavor to remain committed to God's future for Westmoreland, to establish a prayerful and harmonious working relationship within our committee, to be open and patient listeners to each other and to the congregation, to listen carefully to your hopes and dreams as we consult with you throughout the entire process, to communicate as much as possible regarding our work, concluding each meeting by reflecting on what we should communicate to the congregation and what we should hold in confidence, to base our discussions on solid information distributed in a timely manner, to strive for spiritual discernment and consensus in our decision-making, and to fairly and justly engage in all our work with open hearts as well as discerning minds.
Amen. Amen. Good morning, Westmoreland. Good morning. I'm Trey Holloway, and I've been a member at Westmoreland since 2008, along with my wife Lisa and my 3 kids, 2 of whom are here today this morning. As Chris noted, our committee has been working for over a year now, and as I prepared for this sermon and reflected on Jance's guidance for us, I thought a lot about the journey that our committee has been on with each other and with you. And one theme that certainly emerged was that of change. A lot has changed during the time of our work, in our world, in our Westmoreland community, and in the lives of individual committee members. This change has been constant and ranging from unwelcome and difficult change to exciting and truly life-giving change. The election last fall was deeply unsettling for many people in many ways. It prompted Westmoreland to take a hard look at our priorities as a community and what was truly important to us. That reflection led our committee at several points to reconsider what our profile should say about Westmoreland as a congregation. Your commitments to the neighbor, our Have Mercy campaign, have given us the opportunity to tell candidates about the heart of Westmoreland and its members. And I think it's very important for you to know that every candidate that we have spoke to has been deeply moved by what Westmoreland does to care for our community. So while the change has been jarring, the way that our church has responded and come together has been a powerful part of our search. Other changes have been more personal. Members of the committee have experienced loss of family members, illness, and medical surgeries and setbacks. We've supported each other through these difficult times. And just like the broader challenges I mentioned earlier, these personal trials have further clarified what Westmoreland means to each one of us, why we're committed to this place, why we're committed to the work that this church does, and why we're committed to each and every one of you. Thankfully, not all of the changes have been hard. We've also celebrated medical victories and triumphs, and the births of grandchildren. These moments of joy, even as we've navigated difficult transitions, have brought light and warmth to our meetings. Perhaps the biggest change directly related to our search was the decision to revise the profile for the church and relist the position. It was not an easy choice, but we all felt strongly that it was the right one. And what has all this change meant for our work? Well, for starters, we continue to pray for guidance, and we've offered prayers of thanksgiving at our meetings. It's meant that we've needed to be grounded, deliberate, and intentional. As Chris mentioned, we begin meetings with spiritual practice, and we've returned again and again to the principles of the Westmoreland Declaration of Purpose and to our covenant that Chris read to you. Those practices weren't just formalities for us. They've been our anchor. They've held us through difficult times and have helped us celebrate the good. And you've been right there with us as a congregation, experiencing the changes in our church life and in our world. Your inspiration has become our inspiration. It's shaped what we've documented in the profile and shared with candidates, and we've drawn energy from the spiritual life of this church. We've learned that even when everything feels in motion, our shared time can be deeply inspiring. And this change hasn't been a distraction for us. We feel that it has truly been the path. It's shaping our future, and we believe it's a path that is bearing fruit for our search. Lastly, I will say, undergirding all of this has been an experience that has transformed us as a committee. It has humbled us along the way, and it hasn't just brought us together physically. It has profoundly deepened all of our connections with each other. We've leaned on each other during times of loss and truly separated the joy of new life together. We thank you for entrusting us with this work.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Jeffrey Katz, and it's funny, I've been married to a minister for so many years, being behind the pulpit. Yikes. I'd like to share 3 aspects of this search process that has impacted my own personal spiritual journey, how I have been changed. Number one of our first tasks as a pastoral search committee we had to complete was writing a church profile, which is an in-depth description of our congregation. And one important question that we had to address was, what is our vision for the church's future? The Central Atlantic Conference helped narrow this last question down to, imagine your ideal Westmoreland in 5 years. Think about what can happen in the span of 5 years. I don't think I need to remind people of what was happening in our world in 2020. It made me recall loved ones in my own life, my family, friends, neighbors that have joined in the company of saints, and all of those here at Westmoreland that have joined that company. I also thought of good things that happened. But how have I and how have we at Westmoreland changed? And now think about our future of Westmoreland 5 years from now. This is a biggie. Change. It's inevitable. Maybe it's easier to look back. The question of 5 years from now has opened me up to the excitement of the search. What does the future hold? Scary, perhaps, but also full of possibilities. I have changed, but I believe God has been with me, our team, with Westmoreland on this journey. I'm excited about our future. I know God is with us. Number 2, in a total we received 19 ministerial profiles. And a profile is basically a candidate's in-depth description of who they are and where they want to go. We read each and every profile individually, each profile being about 14 to 16 pages long. And then we thoughtfully discerned about each and every one of them together, and we did this prayerfully. And for me, reading the profiles became almost a spiritual practice. I was moved by the candidates' individual spiritual journeys and aspirations. I was inspired by their ministries and stories of compassion. Could we picture this person behind our pulpit every Sunday? Perhaps. Perhaps not. But I was thankful to be able to share a bit of their story. I wonder if these ministers realized in a way that they were actually already ministering to me. I find comfort knowing that there are 19 ministers and countless others striving to do God's ministry out in our communities. There is still good change happening out there. God is with them. And lastly, of course, part of my own personal spiritual journey at Westmoreland has been traveling with these 8 amazing people on our search committee. A few I knew casually. Some I had probably just smiled at and maybe passed the peace to. And honestly, there were a few I really didn't know. I've been able to see and be with these colleagues for 2 hours almost every single Tuesday for the past year, plus. Our weekly times in prayer, our silence, and our deep breaths, our personal reflections on our own spiritual journeys and our Westmoreland journeys were and are beautiful and inspiring. Our team grew closer. I can honestly tell you that these 8 people are dedicated, very smart, funny, passionate, and compassionate. They are justice-seeking, kind, and they are spiritually guided. Many of you already know this. We celebrated the joys of 2 new grandchildren, as Trey mentioned. We prayed together for healing and relief from serious illness. We mourned together for deaths of beloved family members. We laughed. We had honest conversations about our challenging task at hand. Celebrated, prayed, mourned, laughed, and honest conversations. I have been changed. I care deeply for these people. They care deeply for this community, for our neighbors, and for our neighbors across the globe. They walk humbly with their God. God has been with us. So thank you, Westmoreland, for trusting me to be a part of this, for enriching my spiritual journey, and hopefully Westmoreland's spiritual journey. I have been changed. Thank you, my friends, my searching colleagues.
My name is Paul. Change. Change has been Jance's theme across the last several weeks, and the inevitability of that change has been threaded through the Pastoral Search Committee's discussions for the last year. A few weeks ago, Jans preached on the Israelites wandering in the desert for 40 years and Jesus' 40 days in the wilderness. He suggested that choices that have gone awry have been harming our relationships with each other and society at large. The search committee has been trying to make a good choice, to carefully consider who among these beautiful and committed ministers out there will help Westmoreland through our next change. But I'd like to invert Jance's statement from a couple of weeks ago. Not choosing well has hurt our relationships. Strong relationships help us choose well. This is my second pastoral search committee. 13 years ago, as a fairly fresh Westmorelander, I was a member of the group that brought Tim Tutt here. The intensity of the process demands a lot of time and effort from its members, and it also means that, as Jeff mentioned, there are so many chances for us to get to know each other better. And I still harbor so much affection and connection with the members of that original group, for Robert and Betsy, Sue Kirk, Leon, and so many of us who are still here, and I hope it's the same for you all to this day. It is certainly the case for me once again. Over the course of this process, I have come increasingly to think of Westmoreland as a place of joys and concerns. In many ways, that's the heart of what we do. We offer them weekly here in this space, and it's beautiful and it's authentic and so entirely congregational. But personally, I don't do it. Mostly because I'm an introvert, and I find the experience to be very draining. Yet at points this year, I found myself offering my joys and concerns not here in the sanctuary, but to the search committee. So first, my joy. Some of you know that my daughter Maya, who's not paying attention, is severely allergic to wheat, a fact that has been stressful. Earlier this year, she began a course on what's a wonder drug that raises her threshold for reaction, and she's safer than she was before, which is an incredible feeling as a parent, to know that your child is objectively safer today than yesterday. And when this joy happened, I found that the search committee was the group I wanted to share that with first. My sorrow. In April, my sister. With whom I was close, passed away. I'm still processing my grief here on this All Saints' Day. And I don't want to say any more right now other than to say that I wanted to share that too with the committee members. Connection is the past, the present, and the future of Westmoreland. Choosing well in this search means thinking carefully and prayerfully, slowly and deeply, about our ministerial candidates, but just as much about who we all want to be, about what our vision is, about what our connections can be, while also acknowledging that we will always collectively fall short of that vision. When we were writing our profile, we had several discussions about our future, and as Trey mentioned, we ultimately returned to our declaration of purpose, because we have always known who we want to be. We are a church that brings joy to little children and high ideals to youth, and inspiration to middle-aged folks like me, and comfort to those in life's later years. We want to express the mind and spirit of Jesus, and we know that sometimes we need a kick and a challenge to do so. And to do all that, we need to continually maintain our relevance in people's lives, to evolve and to co-create who we are alongside our next minister. So the church must meet the moment. We live in the much cursed, interesting times, and the world sometimes seems to be falling apart in all the ways we know and feel so strongly. But then the world has also always been falling apart. Since long before humans existed, this is Great Extinction number 6. We've been through 5. And the world is continually rebuilt. So we must try to find the spark of God that is present in all of us, to remember that we don't walk alone, that God is with us. We must trust each other as Westmorelanders, as Christians, as humans. You have placed confidence in this committee. We 9 have placed confidence in God. We've learned to trust each other, to connect, and we are trying simply to be worthy of your trust as we journey onwards towards change.